Hello and welcome to the Tiny Human Knits podcast. My name is Laura and I'm coming to you from Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, where I live with my boyfriend, our dog, our cat, and our rabbit. You can find me online as Tiny Human Knits on Instagram, Ravelry, Etsy, and YouTube, and I will have links to all of my social media and everything else I talk about in this episode in the description box below. Welcome or welcome back. It is Saturday, May 27th, which happens to be my nephew Axton's second birthday. Happy birthday, Axton. Very exciting. I didn't send him anything because I have a thing where I need to collect a bunch of things as gifts first before I send them out. I have a box in my sewing room that is just filled with presents that I've made or bought for people over the last since Christmas time, since I sent out Christmas gifts, and it's getting ridiculous. It's taking up so much space in there, but I have this thing where I want to make sweaters for everybody this year for some reason. I don't know why. I'm very gift knitting central this year. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that. I think I mentioned this last time. I just want to make presents for everybody. I want to knit for everybody. I want to get through my yarn stash, which is another thing. Although I did sort of have a little bit of a stumble in that aspect. It hasn't arrived yet, but I ordered yarn for a sweater that isn't using any of my stash. So far this year, I think I've been doing pretty good since I did my episode where I listed all of the yarn that I have projects for and my sort of plans video. I have been using up that yarn, and I've been trying to only buy yarn for if I run out of a certain colorway or I don't have enough or whatever. But I did order yarn for a vest for my boyfriend out of Shetland Spindrift, Jameson of Shetland. Jameson and Shetland? The Spindrift, anyway. And it was a bit splurgy, but it's a beautiful colorwork vest, and it's gonna look so nice, and I've really wanted to use the Spindrift. Not that I need to explain it to anybody, but I was also gifted some yarn, and I will be talking about that in the works in progress section because I'm going to be casting these things on almost immediately. So anyway, long story short, I'm not wearing any knitwear today because it's way too warm for that. So I will go into some finished objects. I technically have 3, but one of them I cannot show you because it isn't released yet. It's a colorway, not a pattern. But my first finished object is the last colorway from my Lord of the Rings collection, which is the Sauron Storeroom collection socks. I'm a sample pair. This colorway is currently in the shop, as well as some skeins of the So It Begins colorway, which is this one here. So both sock sets are in the shop at the moment, and then I'm hoping by the end of next month to have the full sets available if you've been waiting for those. It'll have all 5 colorways together in one set. And then I have a collection coming out after that, which I'm very excited about. It's going to be my Mucha collection. I'm going to be showing some sneak peeks of that. And I really like my Lord of the Rings colorways. I genuinely really love them. But my Mucha collection so far is probably some of my favorite colorways that I've ever dyed ever. And I'm very excited. Very excited. I'm working on those samples right now, so I'll show you those in a bit. But my second or third, the second that I'm showing you, is the Rosa tee by Along Avec Anna, and I'm going to show it to you in the way that I've sort of meant for it to be worn. So here it is. This is for my niece Mira, and she is one of the cutest kids alive. She is 2 and almost a half. 2 1/3. So the Rosa tee is a pattern, a children's pattern, and it's so stinking cute. And I made these overalls for her as well. So I made the shirt to go with the overalls, and I'm really hoping they both fit her by the time she gets them. But this, the overall pattern is a pattern by Omio My Sewing. They sell on Etsy, or that's where I've bought their patterns from. Super straightforward sewing. I will link it in the description box below. It's super cute. It was super easy. And I think I waxed philosophical about this before, so I won't go into too much detail. But the shirt, which was so cute and so soft, I knit it out of bamboo pop. I think I have some up here. No, I must have put it somewhere else. I think I talked about it in my last episode. It's a 50% bamboo, 50% cotton blend. So it's super, super, super soft. And this is what it looks like. It's got picot edges on the hem and the shoulder, the armholes. It's so cute. It's so cute. You finish it off with an I-cord that you tie at the back. So this little keyhole opening. I'm gonna have to take it off a hanger because it is getting like those hanger indents in here, but this is so sweet. Oh, I love it so much. It's gonna look so nice in her. I knit the 4-year-old size. She's only 2.5. So this is gonna be a bit oversized for her, sort of tunicky, which is great because that means she's gonna be able to wear it for quite a while. And I used, I think when I weighed it out, it was 148 grams of yarn. It's got this beautiful, your increases are done with eyelets, so it's just stunning. I love it so much. And then the picot edge is just, you do your eyelet row, knit for a bit, and then you sew it down after binding off. And it turned out so nice. So yeah, I am intending it to go together. So this one has a little label on it that says handmade. So yeah, they're gonna go together so, so well. I'm so happy. And I'm going to be making a few more sets of these overalls, I think in different sizes, just so she can wear them together with the shirt, and maybe even a little pinafore dress or something like that. I think I love making for kids. When I first started sewing, I would buy the most random amount of fabric because I didn't know how much you would need for a project. So I have a lot of weird odds and ends and also leftovers from quilts that I've made. So this is sort of like the perfect thing to use up those really random bits up with. Just kids' clothes, because they don't take very much. And they're gonna grow out of them in like 3 minutes anyway, so it's been great. It's also great practice for making clothes, because I have a lot of patterns that are cut out of their fabric ready for me to sew them up, but I get a bit nervous about the actual sewing up process because I don't know if it's gonna fit me or not, because I have sort of strange proportions. But that one, it's been great. I'm so excited to see her in them because she's so cute. So next, do you know what? I'm going to show you one last finished object, and it's absolutely gigantic. I might have to do a cutaway, and I don't even think I'll be able to show it all in that anyway. But I finished the quilt that I was making for my boyfriend's sister for her wedding. It is a king size quilt. I'm only gonna be able to show you a little bit of it because it's huge. This is it folded up about half a dozen times, and it weighs, I actually weighed just the top, it weighs 1.5 kilograms, and yeah, it's huge. It is almost, I knew how big it was going to be, but it's almost bigger than I expected. So again, I'm not going to be able to show you half of this, but I'll be able to give you an idea, and then I'll do a cutaway. It's so big. It's just so big. So it's 30 blocks of the same block, so it's not really anything like, it's repeated. And I did ask her what colors she wanted for her quilt, because I asked her what she wanted for her wedding, because like, she's established, she's a grown-ass woman, she has everything she needs. So I asked her if she wanted me to make anything for her, and she asked like what, and my first word was a quilt, and she says sounds great. So quilt it is. And then I asked her what colors she wanted, and she said black, white, and gray. So this is black, white, and gray. It's all the fabrics are from the same line. I bought these fabrics just at my local Fabricville, and they're all the same print, they're just different colors. So the black, white, and gray all have this leafy design on them, which is so nice. I am going to be sending this to be long arm quilted. I went through a company that's what they do. They're good at it. It'll be quick, great. They have a big enough machine to get this thing on, because this one is 92 by 106 inches, and I laid it over my queen size bed, and it almost touches the floor on both sides, so it's big. So I'm going to get it professionally quilted. I normally send them to my mother-in-law, but her machine isn't quite big enough to handle this sort of thing, and it would just be a faff anyway. So I'm gonna get it done. It was pretty pricey to get it quilted, but I told my boyfriend that I paid for the fabric, I made it, and he could pay for the quilting, and it would sort of even it out, so it could be from both of us, because he doesn't know what to get his sister for her wedding either, so it evens out, pretty much. But it's beautiful. It's so big, it's lovely. I hate pressing my seams open, but this pattern sort of, you have to. So I did for the most part until it came to sewing the sashing, which is the bits in between all your blocks. So when I was sewing like this section on, it's an inch thick piece of fabric. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it anymore. I didn't want to, so I did press those to the side, but they were inconsequential. You won't even be able to tell. But yeah, I'm getting it quilted with a leafy design on it, which actually my boyfriend picked out, which I wanted him to be part of that process so it can be from both of us, so he picked it. And it's going to be quilted in black thread. I'm so excited. And then I'll probably bind it with more of this because I have plenty of this fabric left, so I'm just going to bind it in the black fabric. And then the backing is also, it's like a black with gray and like different shades of gray, like almost a splattery effect. So it'll match the top really well. And she also has, I'm starting to wonder, she has a cat and a dog that are both black and white and gray. So I'm trying to figure out if she got those pets because of their color or if that was just coincidence. But it's great because their hair won't show up as much on this. So this took a long time to make. It was very laborious, but it is beautiful, and I'm so excited to see what it looks like finished. Again, I'm gonna try to get a little bit of like a cut to show you just the sheer size and glory of it, but it's big, it's beautiful. I forgot to say what pattern it is. It's called the Adjourn pattern. It is designed by, I want to say Juniper Moon Thread. Is that right? I'm not entirely, there's Juniper in there somewhere. I will put the name right here if any of you are interested. This pattern, as fiddly as it is, and how much ironing and pressing and like careful sewing and all of that, for all that it is, it's actually, I wouldn't even say it's a difficult pattern because you don't actually have to match your seams, which is the thing that a lot of people have a hard time with. Like if you're making a bunch of blocks that need to, like, your join needs to match up just like this doesn't have that, because the way that the lines work, they don't actually join, they all just sort of cross each other by. So you want these to line up, but you have a buffer of this other strip of fabric, which is fantastic. So like I've been making quilts for a couple years now, and I've practiced a lot. So mine might be a little bit more even, but like you wouldn't be able to tell if it was off by a little bit, which is great. Sewing it together was a lot easier than some of the other things that I have made before. The last quilt I made for someone's wedding was something that nearly drove me up the wall with how specific it had to be. It had directional fabric and square in a square, which is my least favorite block. And it was so precise and so tidy that my seam ripper was out the entire time I was making that quilt. But for this one, I only needed to take it out a few times, and that was mostly me being weird. Bonjour.
Bonjour. Back door was locked.
Sorry. Habit.
Are you done?
No. I'm not going to keep talking while you're in here. But yeah, this pattern was really, I don't know if I would describe it as fun, but it was kind of relaxing in its repetition. Anyway, if anyone has any questions about quilting or any of the quilts that I make or what tools I use, actually, I was gonna say, if you are going to make this pattern, you should get one of those, oh, what are they called? It's like a cutting tool that helps you cut strips. Stripology, I think is what it's called. I've got a medium-sized one. It's pretty big, but not like huge, that I got for Christmas 3 years ago, I think. you have to do a lot of 1-inch strips of fabric in this pattern, so I would recommend getting one of those just to make it significantly easier for yourself. That is my one thing. And also, you have to press carefully and get a clapper. I was using, so a clapper, if you don't quilt, is what you, it's like a wood piece of wood that you put over your seams after you've pressed them, and it helps them flatten and keep their shape, so it helps them cool down while having a weight on them, so it keeps them flat. Anyway, I use an old cutting board that we had in the drawer, and it works just fine. It works great. It's fantastic. I had a lot of fun. I cannot wait to see what it looks like when it's done. I'm really excited for that. I will show you. Anyways, I have one main work in progress left, and that is my travel mode baby blanket. I wanted to have this finished this week, but I have been distracted by a heap of sock projects. I am in the middle of a row. I don't normally do that. So I will show you where I am at, or try to. So I think last time I was about half done. I was working on my third triangle, so I finished that section. It's not going to look that great to see. So I finished the third triangle section, and then I did the second intermission is what it's called. It's got my hair all over it. So now I'm just working on closing up this last section with the 3 different sections of that section. And then I will be doing an I-cord edge all the way around. This thing is so squishy because it's almost entirely garter stitch, and I'm enjoying it as much as I was before. I love this yarn. I'm knitting it in Durum Natura Gilead on 5mm needles, so it's super, super squishy. I had all of this yarn in my stash, and it's working out really great. Like, the most I have left for some of the colors is like this little nubbin right here. And then this one has a little bit more, but like there's only maybe 40 grams of this left, or maybe 35. But yeah, I'm just gonna have like little bits like this left over. And I did buy a couple more skeins to make another one for my new nephew that'll be born in August. So I wanna make that one as well. And that one's gonna have a little bit more, it's gonna have greens and blues in it instead of these, and it's still gonna have this yellow. So they're gonna have that color the same, but it's gonna be more greens and blues. And I think that'll be really cute because it'll be really easy to differentiate one from the other. And I think what I'm going to do after I'm done both of the blankets is I'm going to have enough left over to make myself a oversized pullover. And I'm going to do it in stripy sections with all of my leftover bits, because I'm going to have, I think, 4 or 5 different more neutral colors. So I'll be able to it won't all be solids like this. Like, I can put these 2 together, or even these 3 together in one section, and then break it up with a more neutral color. And I'm really excited by that idea. It's probably going to be an Ozetta pattern because hers are really well designed, oversized, drop shoulder, just what I'm looking for. And I'm just thinking about doing something like using maybe a set of dice to figure out how many rows of each color I'm going to do and what order, so it can be kind of scrappy and kind of just, you know, that's what I want to do with my leftovers, because then I can use up as much of this as I can, and like right to the end of the ball, just knit as many stripes as I can in the color. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Like, these are the ones that I used in this pattern, and then yeah, the other one has blues that will match the sort of vibe that these have going on. So that is what I'm going to do with my leftovers. Very excited. This is a pattern by Susanne Sommer, I believe, and I think she's doing a brioche mystery knit along for a shawl right now. I think that's what I've been seeing on Instagram a bunch. But there's also, I don't know why I didn't notice this before, but there's also this sort of style in a shawl that she has a design for. Absolutely stunning. I don't wear shawls. I do like to knit them, but I don't wear them. But that one looks absolutely gorgeous. And I'm really excited by this one because it's just really, really easy knitting, which has been really nice. So yeah, I'm working on that, and then I'm also working on 4 different sets of sample socks. I also have a hoe of a different pair. I finished this one. And this is the West Yorkshire Spinners. I think it's the gingerbread colorway, so the Christmas colorway from last year. And I am making this for, I think I've decided that I'm going to send it to my friend Brittany because she asked me for new socks. She is Mira's mom. And the socks that I've made for her before, she's wearing through. So she asked me for more socks. So that's going to be one. I need to cast on the other one, but I need to finish my other ones first. Because so this is going to be a first look kind of thing. It's not all of the colors, but you are going to see now what the colorways for my Mucha collection are going to be. And what I'm using for color reference, actually taken them out of this book yet, is I have this book of postcards for Alphonse Mucha paintings. Because the thing about Mucha is that because he did, like, I think it's block print paintings, it wasn't like paint on a canvas. There's a lot of different versions of like what the colors look like. It's really hard to get an even, steady what the colors are. You get a general idea, they're kind of the same, but like the colors can be different in a bunch of different pictures you see online. So I'm just using this as my reference because I really like the print quality of this one. And so that's where I'm getting my colors directly from, just so you know. I should actually take out the last one because there's another one in here. I did dye up a colorway and it looks great, but it's not quite what I was looking for. So this is a collection that I have planned for quite a while. I am very excited by it because Mucha is my favorite artist by a long shot. So I'm going to give you a little sneak peek of what the colors are going to be. I don't know why this feels really nerve-wracking. Okay, so the first one is Winter 1896, which is that right there, which is this colorway right here. This one I've described to myself as being buttery. It's very buttery. And I love that a lot. So that's the first one. The second one is Summer 1896. And that is a tangled mess. Is that one right here. Love it a lot. I love it a lot. And then third is something I cannot pronounce. It's something about beer, I think. It's essentially, the title is what's up top here. So it's an advertisement for beer. And that one is actually a sock that I have finished, which I really love it. I'm so happy with these colors. I was dyeing these at the same time that I was dyeing the last 2 Lord of the Rings colors. I had a bit of I needed to dye a bunch of new colors just to prove to myself that I could, because I'd had a bit of a lull and I hadn't dyed new colors in a while, so I needed to do a bunch. I also dyed up a bunch of Studio Ghibli colorways that are going to be coming out next year. Anyway, that's the third one. The fourth one I will show you the design for, like what I'm comparing it to. There's 2 paintings on this one, so it's that one right there, which is fruits. And so yeah, I dyed one. It didn't turn out, it looked great in the skein. It didn't turn out quite what I was looking for in the sock sample. So I'm just gonna have to re-dye it maybe once or twice just to get it how I want it to. But I am so happy with these. I'm very happy. So what I'm planning on doing for this is I am going to do my Lord of the Rings full set next month, and then I want to put up full sets of all 4 colorways of the Mucha collection in 50-gram sock sets, 100-gram with 20-gram sock sets, and then I want to also dye them in DK. And I'm going to have them available first in full sets for those who want them in full sets, and then after that I'm going to be doing them as individual listings. So you can buy whichever, if you don't like all of them, you can buy them individually. So that will probably be in the fall because it's going to take me a while to do all that. So yeah, I would love to know which one is your favorite. I know the last one isn't done yet, but like if you have a favorite that you've seen so far. I love all of them a lot. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be so nice to dye those because they're such fun, bright colorways, and I'm just really happy with them. Really happy with them. So that's pretty much all I've been working on. Is I have been knitting socks like crazy. And I'm really enjoying it. I really like knitting socks. I find it very meditative, and I usually cast on about four to seven at a time because that's how many needles I have for sock knitting, and it's always my colorways. But yeah, I'm gonna have a lot of pairs of socks by the end of the year, which I never wear, which I have discussed before. I love to collect socks because I think they're great. One more thing I want to share with you before I go sit in the sunshine for a bit is, and I'm sure that you have seen a bunch of people talk about this before, but I was contacted by Ewe Knit Toronto, who they have a yarn shop in Toronto, and they also have an online shop, about their newest publication, which is the Making Memories book that just published by Lina Magazine. And I don't know if you've noticed before, but I am a huge fan of knitting for children. I don't have any kids. I'll never have any kids, but I know lots of people with kids. So they sent me this book, which I actually didn't know they were going to send me the book. I thought they were just going to send me the patterns, which I actually have the adult pattern already. I thought they were going to send me the new children's pattern, but they sent me the whole book, which is thrilling because I will definitely be knitting a few patterns out of here. Especially there's a color work pattern in here that I think is absolutely stunning. That one, gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I might make a few of those for my nieces and nephews just because I think they're so beautiful. Oh, kaleidoscope, gorgeous. So they also asked if I would like to get a few kits. Well, they said one, the adult kit, the child kit, or both, and I'm a greedy goblin, so I said both. Because I want to knit this for my friend Brittany. I want to do the adult size for Brittany, and then the child size for her daughter, Mira, because I think that would be so cute. Because I love them both, and they need to have a matching sweater, because of course they do. So they sent me kits for the cathedral sweater. I'm going to say cathedral because I think this is the French way that, or not French, Spanish? Anyway, it's the cathedral sweater, and it's super cute. And like I said, I had the adult version already in my Ravelry library because it looks gorgeous. So yeah, they sent them to me for a knit along that they are starting for this sweater specifically, child or adult size. And you can go on to, I think, I'll put a link for it in the description box below, but they have a form that you can fill out if you're planning on taking part in the knit along, and they're gonna have 3 prizes of $100 to their shop, I believe. And I have also been kind of thinking about doing like a little side giveaway thing for this knit along because I think it's so cute. They sent me, I chose for the adult version, I'm going to be knitting it out of the Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino in the Bordeaux colorway, which suits Brittany. I think it's going to suit her great. She loves purple, and this has a little bit of a purple tinge to it, but with it's a little darker, so I think it's going to look super nice. So they sent me the kit for that, and then they also sent me the kit for the child version in the Rowan Kid Classic, which I've never used before. I've actually not used the Heavy Merino either. I have 4 skeins of it in the slate green or something like that, and I think it is. My rabbit ate the labels off of them, so I can't read them anymore. But it's that beautiful deep green, but I have never committed to a pattern. I'm hoping there's one in this book that I can knit for my nephew Axton, because he needs apparently a whole wardrobe knit by his Auntie Laura. But I'm really excited for this. It's super soft, and I'm thinking I might sew her a little skirt to go with it as well, because I think this would look really nice with like a really dark colored skirt, like a corduroy almost. I think that would be so cute. So yeah, the knit along is starting on June 9th, and I believe it's going to the 23rd of July. And if you're planning on joining in, I'd love to know which yarn you're going to use. Are you going to use one of their kits? Because I think their kits are also 20% off on their shop, which I will also link down below. And and I know I want to cast on so many things right now. I'm planning on, because I'm making a sweater for Brittany and a sweater for Mira, her daughter. I've decided that Dad also needs a sweater. And I have the yarn for this sweater that is a Woolfolk pattern. This is going to be ridiculous. Rowan, which is kind of funny because I'm knitting this in Rowan yarn. Rowan and Brittany are husband and wife. And Rowan is not a small man. He's very tall, quite broad-shouldered. But I have decided that I'm going to knit him the Lancering pullover, which is that right there. Because I think it's going to suit him so well. And I'm going to knit that out of this yarn, which is the Knit Picks Simply Wool Aran Weight in the Winnie colorway. And this is sort of a way for me to knit a huge chunk of stash out of my stash, because I have like 12 skeins of this, and it's 100 grams each. So it's an easy way for me to get a huge ton of yarn out of my stash, because if you've been here a while, you'll know I'm trying to do 10,000 grams of yarn in 10,000, what did I say, 10,000 minutes? So it's a little over a year. It's just what I decided. I started last October. And so the two kits, these two sweaters, I'm considering net neutral. I'm not adding them to my stash, and I won't be able to take the grams that I knit for these out of my stash. So they're just neutral. It's the same thing I'm doing for all of my sock samples. I'm not adding it to my stash because I dye it for the shop and I need to make a sample. So I have a separate list of the amount of grams that I knit that don't count towards my 10,000 grams. But this is gonna count. This is also why I want to start working on my mother-in-law's crocheted blanket again too, because that eats yarn like crazy. So I'm hoping for that. I've gotten over 4,000 grams so far, and I've got a few big projects that I need to finish, then I'll be at my halfway mark, hopefully. Because yeah, I have until, I believe, December. It's my cousin Isla's birthday. I want to say December 8th? Something like that, I think, till the end. But yeah, there are quite a few patterns in here that I would really like to make, so I probably will. So if you see me knitting these patterns, don't be surprised. I almost wish more people around me were having babies, but I don't have time for that anyway. Anyway. That's my last thing. I'm probably gonna spend my weekend finishing the sock samples, because I work on so many at one time, I'll be able to churn them out really quick. But yeah, if you have a favorite of the Mucha collection, let me know. It would actually be nice, because then when I do after I'm done, I'll know which one to dye more of, if that suits you. Anyway, I'm gonna go and knit some socks. I hope you all are having a wonderful weekend, and I am going to try really hard not to cast on these cathedral sweaters before the knit-along starts. But yeah, I will see you next time, and have a lovely afternoon.